She didn't feed him because she wanted something back. She fed him because nobody else would. Every night for 7 straight years, Margaret Lane, 62 years old, knees that popped with every step, hair tied back in a bun that never held. All the way, slipped out the back door of Miller's diner with a small brown bag in hand. Sometimes it was a sandwich she wrapped in foil herself. Other times, a slice of pie she bought with her tips, and without fail, she walked down a narrow alley and left it by the dumpster where a boy was waiting. The first time she saw him, he was 8. Big eyes, skinny arms, sweatshirt 2 sizes too small. He didn't beg, didn't speak, just stood still, watching. When she set the bag down, he gave the tiniest nod, like maybe he didn't trust people, but maybe, just maybe, he trusted her. Inside the diner, her co-workers cracked jokes. "Feeding strays now, Margie?" one of the cooks said. Another laughed. "That kid'll rob you blind one day." Margaret shrugged it off, though the words stung. She just muttered to herself, "Some folks need a little warmth," but not everyone laughed it off. Her manager, Frank Doyle, a man with slicked back hair and a smirk that never reached his eyes, liked to needle her. "Funny how much food goes missing around here," he'd say, voice dripping sarcasm. "You sure you're not running a soup kitchen out back, Margie?" She smiled politely. "I use my tips. Just a sandwich." Frank narrowed his eyes. "One day you're gonna regret playing Mother Teresa." But she didn't regret it. Not even years later when it cost her everything. One winter night, Frank gathered the whole staff. His face was red, voice sharp. $40 missing from the register, he announced. And the only one walking out with bags every night is Margaret. The room went silent. She opened her mouth to protest, but the cold in their eyes stopped her. Nobody stood up. Nobody vouched for her. Frank didn't even lower his voice when he said it. "You're done here. Take your bleeding heart act somewhere else." Margaret didn't cry, not in front of them, but her hands shook as she packed her things. That night, she walked to the alley one last time. The boy was older now, maybe 15, still thin, still quiet. She handed him a bag with more than food inside, a napkin with her address written in shaky pen. "I don't work there anymore," she whispered. "But if you ever need anything, this is where I live." He took the bag, clutched it to his chest, and disappeared into the dark. And that was the end of it. For 10 years, Margaret's life shrank down to part-time cleaning jobs, coupon-clipped groceries, sore feet, and silence. Her little house on Brookview Street creaked when she walked, groaned when the wind blew. She scrubbed baseboards that weren't hers, folded laundry for strangers, and rode the bus home with aching hands. Neighbors whispered, "Used to work at that diner. Got fired." Real sad. She kept moving, kept knitting scarves for the church pantry every winter, even though arthritis made her fingers stiff. Sometimes, when she couldn't sleep, she thought about the boy, wondered if he'd made it, wondered if he even remembered her. And then one Thursday in October, she found out. A black SUV rolled up to her peeling porch, engine humming low. Too clean, too polished for the street. Margaret peeked through the curtain, breath caught in her throat. A man stepped out. Tall, expensive suit, the kind you only saw in magazines. He looked around like he belonged everywhere, and then his eyes met hers through the window. She froze. There was something in those eyes. Familiar. Unmistakable. She opened the door before he even knocked. "You don't remember me, do you?" he said, voice gentle. She blinked, heart pounding. I'm sorry. You look familiar." His voice dropped. "I'm the boy from the alley." Time collapsed. The brown bags, the nods, the note she slipped into that last meal. Margaret's knees buckled and she grabbed the doorframe to stay standing. You're him." He nodded. "I kept that napkin for 10 years. I wasn't ready to come back, but I made a promise. If I ever got out, if I ever made something of myself, I'd find you." She stepped aside without a word. The moment was too big for her small house. He looked around at the worn couch, the stack of bills on the table, the chipped paint, but he didn't say a word. He just looked at her like she was the only person that mattered. "I started coding," he said, almost shy. "Learned at the library on old computers, slept in shelters, worked every job I could. Got noticed, built a company. Now they call me a visionary." He chuckled, shaking his head. "But the only vision I ever had was of a woman who fed me when nobody else would." Margaret covered her mouth with her hands. Tears slid down her cheeks. He kept going. "I didn't just survive because of the food. I survived because you made me believe I wasn't garbage, that I mattered." Over the next few weeks, Margaret's world flipped upside down. He bought her a new house, bright, warm, safe. He set up a trust so she'd never have to worry again. But the real shock came one morning when he picked her up in that SUV and drove her into the city. They pulled up to a massive glass building, reporters swarming, cameras flashing. On the stone wall, engraved in clean letters, it said, "The Lane Home for Children." He stood at the podium and told the world, "If not for this woman, I wouldn't be standing here. She fed me when the world looked away. She gave me dignity. And because of her, I made it. Now I want to make sure no kid ever has to wait behind a dumpster for kindness." Margaret sat front row, her hands folded, eyes wet. After the speech, kids from the home ran to her, tugged her sleeves, hugged her legs. She laughed, a real laugh, one she hadn't heard from herself in years. For the first time in a long time, she didn't feel like the woman who got fired or the woman people pitied. She felt seen. She felt full, because kindness doesn't vanish. It plants seeds, even in alleys. And sometimes those seeds grow into legacies. So let me ask you this. What would you have done if you were Margaret? Would you risk your job, your reputation, just to feed a kid no one else cared about? Would you believe a hungry child could turn into a legend? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Share what kindness means to you, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because sometimes when the world looks away, all it takes is one person to choose not to.